and gentlemen, and I extend a very warm welcome to you all here today to Staffordshire County Showground. I'm Shauna Davis, your chair for this Brainstrust, and I now declare this meeting open. It is certainly heartwarming to see a good number of you here present today on a lovely summer's day. The four lovely ladies in front of you have crossed the border today from Ceredigion Federation in West Wales, and this Brainstrust panel will discuss three interesting subjects that range from voting at the general election to be compulsory, to homework should be banned, to stricter laws on live animal transportation. I'm a member of NFYFC, and the highlight of my career with the Federation so far was to be elected the county's Young Member of the Year for 2011-2012. I'm currently studying primary education at the University of Wales Trinity St David's, but most importantly, I'm NFYFC's treasurer. My primary school teacher's training will probably become useful today. If I can handle 38-year-olds, I'm sure I'll be able to take good care of these three lovely ladies as they voice their opinions. I really am looking forward to hearing your views. As I've mentioned, they are my fellow members of Ceredigion YFC, but most importantly, my fellow members at Llanwennog YFC. From left to right, Shauna Hutcher,
Good afternoon.
Lauren Jones,
Good afternoon.
and Mary Davis.
Afternoon.
Make some my warmest of welcomes to you all. Also, the warmest of welcomes to you, the audience. Your support is very much appreciated. Make yourselves at home. Sit back and enjoy. Shauna Hatcher is from Llanwennog itself, but at the moment is living down in our capital city at Cardiff, where she's studying environmental health at Cardiff Metropolitan. When she's home from university, she enjoys helping with a family catering business, Cegin Gwennog. In the middle is Lauren Jones. Lauren is a first-year student at the University of Wales Trinity St David's, studying primary education. Not often you'd see Lauren alone, as she's one of a twin. In her spare time, she enjoys watching rallying and helping out on her friend's farm. Completing the trio is Mary Davis. She's also a first-year student, but studying at the University of West of England and doing adult nursing. When she's home from university and not busy working as a lifeguard, she enjoys helping on their family farm and socialising in the club. So panellists, we'll get going. The first question reads as follows, and I'll ask you, Shauna, to begin the discussion. Do the panel believe that voting at the general election should be compulsory? Once again, do the panel believe that voting at the general election should be compulsory?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for your question. Voting, in my opinion, should be, in the long term, compulsory. But I think that the main problem that the UK are facing at the moment is that young people, such as myself, and under 18-year-olds don't actually understand what's going on during the general election. So they need to be, the government needs to educate the younger people of this nation into understanding why they're voting, what they are voting for, and the importance that they do cast their vote towards initially their future and also their family's future as well.
Thank you, Shauna. And Lauren, what are your views?
I would have to disagree with this question and say that voting should not be compulsory, in my opinion. As you touched on the subject, Shauna, a lot of young people, such as my age, myself, do not understand much about the general election and what's going on in the government these days. Therefore, by making it compulsory, I believe that the younger generations will be going to vote and have no interest whatsoever and will not know the importance of voting and will not understand what they are voting for.
Thank you, Lauren. And Mary, which one of you panellists do you agree with?
I'm going to have to agree with Lauren on this one. I don't think voting should become compulsory. As you both touched, I don't think young children understand, well, young adults really understand politics. I myself didn't really understand what was going on this year, even though I did vote. Making it compulsory, like you said, will just make the young adults just vote for the sake of voting. I do understand that women has fought very hard for their right to vote, but especially young adults, I don't believe that should be compulsory for the young ones anyway.
But what we need to remember is that the voting age in this country is 18, and I know that Scotland would be looking to reduce their voting age to 16. But I don't think that that is very practical. As you said, you voted this year, but you didn't know what was going on. So what the government needs to be concentrating on is educating 18-year-olds or between the age of 18 and 21 initially, in my opinion, on what is going on, what each party is interested in doing in the future, how they are going to benefit the young people, how they're going to benefit universities. Both of you are in universities, and I'm sure you don't know what the Conservatives have in mind at the moment to help and to benefit the universities that you're in. And initially Wales as well, we've got Plaid Cymru ourselves as a party. Did you know exactly what Plaid Cymru wanted to do to benefit Wales? It's initially these parties need to educate these people on, and then they will be able to get their votes, and you'll get a majority of a vote. At the moment, you've got the minority of people who are voting, who know what's going on, and then you've got some young people who, as you said yourself, are voting for the sake of voting. So we need to concentrate on the education of young people, and then maybe going on to making voting a compulsory action.
What if I wanted to say that I wanted to be living independently and not even have to vote? I mean, why can't I just live how I want to live?
You can live how you want to live, Larry, but what you've got to understand that the party in control of this country do have, they will affect your life, and they will affect your working life. If you're a student nurse, so you're going to be working for the NHS. I'm sure you don't know how these parties are going to affect the NHS, what money they're going to put into the NHS, and to make your working life a bit better than what it is now.
Lauren, do you believe if you would have received education about politics and what politics gives to you in the future, do you believe that you'd have more interest in voting at your age now?
Yes, I might have, but as I turned 18 last year and I'm 19 now, I haven't been to vote for the past 2 years because of this non-knowledge that I have.
And that's exactly my point. You haven't got the knowledge and you don't know what's going on. So once these young people know, then these parties will have your vote, and more people will be voting, and more things will be done to benefit the younger people of this country.
But as you said, Scotland were thinking of reducing the voting age to 16. Well, I think that is ridiculous because our age now, I don't have not much knowledge about voting. By reducing the age to 16, I think that would make these young. Well,
that was exactly my point. I said it's not practical until the government educates the young people first, and then maybe reducing the age or making it compulsory.
Thank you, panellists. To summarise, Sean had agreed with the question, saying the problem at the moment is the younger generation and educated. And Lauren and Larry disagreed with Sean, saying they don't understand much at the moment and they're only 19 and they won't have interest in voting. The second question reads as follows. Do the panel believe that homework should be banned? And Lauren, as a student doing primary education, I thought this would be relevant to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do not believe that homework should be banned. As I've experienced out on placement with my course, primary education, I have witnessed that the curriculum is so broad and there's so many topics and subjects and ideas for teachers to include within the curriculum that they have not much time to cover everything that's in the curriculum within the year they have. Therefore, I believe by providing and giving children homework, then they get the chance to improve on covering everything within the curriculum.
Thank you, Lauren. And Larry, what are your views?
Well, Lauren, I think I might have to disagree with your statement. I do think maybe homework should be banned. Doing work at home, the teacher can't really monitor how the child's getting on. You're not sure who's actually doing the homework. Most probably they have a brother or sister, encouraging parents that might help. You can't really focus on what the individual is, how it is progressing at home.
Thank you, Larry and Sean. What are your views?
I'm going to have to agree with Lauren on this point. Since I've been in university for 2 years now, I've learned that self-learning is very important, and I believe that giving homework to children in primary school and secondary school is essential for them to develop key skills such as time monitoring. They are able to develop the skills of working on their own, and it prepares them for later life. And and very importantly for university. And it also helps parents to understand the curriculum that the children are going through, and they can monitor their children's progress by going through homework with them, by reading with them, by helping them. It's not a bad thing that parents do help them.
But children are in school for about 7 hours, 5 days a week. Don't you think after school hours should be for family time rather than extra?
Well, homework is essentially to develop their skills and to develop their knowledge, their academic knowledge. So it helps them to develop, and as Lauren said, the curriculum at the moment is so broad that it is essential that children do go home and do homework at home.
Play is just as important as education, don't you?
Yeah, I believe that is true, but as you touched on the subject of that teachers would not be able to monitor how well children are doing by providing homework, I totally disagree, because if you are a great teacher and you have your children in mind and you know your children well, you will be able to tell from the work that the children are doing at home, and you will be able to monitor their progress within the classroom and at home.
Alice, do you believe that homework then, giving homework at home, makes a connection with the school, with the parents? Like some parents might work 8 till 5, 9 till 5 jobs, and they have a connection with their children, have time with their children, as well as being involved in the education of the children receiving.
I think with homework it motivates children, because I know that primary schools, they do give awards to children that do well in their homework, that do their homework on time, and it motivates children, also motivates parents to help their children and to observe what standard their children are on, and it also takes them away from TV. It motivates them to do their work, to go outside.
I would like to emphasise on how important physical activity is these days. Obesity levels are increasing. I reckon young children especially should be out on the field playing with their friends, socialising as well.
How can you monitor that this child is not doing their homework and they're outside playing, or they might be not doing their homework and be watching TV? It's just you're contradicting yourself there. And I believe that, there's PE that's been incorporated into schools. They can give homework to children to practice their sport, to practice their football. Everything is incorporated into their homework, and it's essential key skill they need to learn.
Yeah, I agree with Sinead there. Homework isn't all about sitting down, reading, writing, answering questions, doing sums. Homework can be given when creative homework, physical education homework. It can be broad, the same as the curriculum. It doesn't have to be written all the time.
Thank you, panellists. To summarise, Lauren and Sinead disagreed with the statement, saying the curriculum is so broad at the moment that they don't have enough time in school to fulfil all the education the children need. And Mary agreed with the statement, saying they can't monitor the children's progress at home, their parents might be doing their homework for them. And to complete the discussion today, ladies, the final question reads as follows. Do the panel believe there should be stricter laws on live animal transportation? Mary, as a daughter's fan, on the farm, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with the statement, Madam Chair. I don't think farmers need more rules and regulations, stricter laws. There's enough as it is. I believe that there is enough documentation, enough passport, enough everything to secure transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Sinead, what do you believe?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I'm going to have to agree with this statement. At the moment, environmental health are massively involved with animal transportation, and there are problems with animals being injured and sustaining injuries during transportation from farm to farm or from farm to slaughterhouse. And I know as a fact that if an animal is injured during transportation, it has to go through emergency slaughter. So when an animal goes through emergency slaughter, the meat that comes from that animal gets a different health mark because it's been processed in not such hygienically environment as what in a slaughterhouse. So it's then restricted to a national level within the market. So I believe that stricter laws need to be enforced in order to ensure that animals are transported adequately and humanely to make sure that they don't sustain any injuries, which then is a knock-on effect on how hygienically they are processed for meat.
Thank you, Sinead. And Lauren, what do you believe?
I will have to agree with Malari on this one. I don't believe there should be stricter rules or laws on live animal transportation. As Malari said, farmers have followed the rules and regulations and have got the passports and documents for the animals being transported. Therefore, if they followed all the rules and regulations, then the farmers are doing their job properly and they're making sure that their animals are transported successfully and properly by following these rules and regulations.
But what we need to remember is that passports for cattle is all down to traceability records and where they've been and how long they've been there. So it's nothing to do with the live animal transportation. What we need to concentrate on is that the animals are humanely transported, they don't sustain any injuries. And we've seen a lot of problems with caged hens. They are packed into cages to be transported to slaughterhouses when they're not adequate anymore for the factories where they produce the eggs. So they are accepted into the slaughterhouse and they are not in any fit condition to be slaughtered for meat. And that's the problem that we need to address with stricter laws on farmers to make sure that they adequately transport their livestock.
But do you think with the problem of TB now that's arising, there's enough problems as it is moving cattle and everything? You can move cattle easily with this problem of TB, with more rules, more regulations. There is no way farmers can...
There is ways that to restrict farmers from packing them into trailers, even if they're going to slaughter. I mean, it's important that they don't sustain any injuries, and it's important that they are well when they go into slaughter for human consumption, essentially, because it's you that's affected by an animal that's been injured in transportation.
I agree with you there, Siobhan. But if you are a farmer that is obviously wanting to transport your animals, then if they are a good farmer and they are looking out for their animals, then they should make sure themselves that they are making sure that the animals are transported without any injury or hazards.
That's the problem we've got. Farmers aren't doing this, and we need to look at farming as a business. And without laws and regulations, you don't have a business. You haven't got a business without paperwork.
But they are. I'm just saying that they don't need to make it tighter, otherwise farming is just going to be impossible. It's going to be run by rules and regulations.
But
we don't need that.
They are losing money by giving cattle and livestock to slaughterhouses when they're injured. It's the farmer themselves that are losing money because it can't be processed into meat.
Do you believe then, with the laws coming in, do you think it'd be a certain amount of animals on the cart at the same time, or do you think all the farmers just load as much as they can?
At the moment, there is no regulation towards how many animals they have to put onto a trailer, so I think that's something that needs to be addressed. Animals injure each other, they get panicked, and that's where we get the injuries from, and that needs to be addressed, and farmers need to be aware of the damage that they are doing to their animals by doing this.
I do get your point. The farmers are extremely busy. You can't leave 5-6 sheep left in the field. You know, you've got to get on with it.
Well, as you said, farmers are busy, but every business is busy. But they've got to comply with all the rules and regulations and the law. And at the end of the day, I don't see why farmers shouldn't have to comply with the law that is regulated towards them.
If the farmers are following the rules and regulations that are already in place for this for animal transportation, and they take into consideration while transporting the animals of their health, their safety and any hazards by carting, then I don't believe why there should be stricter rules on animal transportation.
Thank you, panellists. To summarise, Mary and Lauren disagreed, saying there's enough documentations with farmers these days to ensure safety for their animals. And Shona agreed with the statement, as with her student experience, animals are injured during transportation quite easily. Well, time is ticking on, and may I thank the three of you for your excellent and varied contributions. Thank you, good people, for being good audience. I now declare the meeting closed. On behalf of Sioned, Lauren, Mary and myself, may I wish you all a safe journey home. Thank you and good day.